Hello everyone, my name is Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is May 9th, 2025. And today's video is all about why this current Bitcoin rally is over. Why it's over with a high degree of probability, and why altcoins are one retracement away from Altseason. Okay, two things. The current Bitcoin rally is finished. So we're going to look at Bitcoin, why the rally is finished with a high degree of probability, where it's going to, and what altcoins are likely to do after this major crypto market retracement. Guys, if that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get started with Bitcoin as per usual on the 4-hourly time frame. Let's start on the 4-hourly time frame. All right. So, yesterday we said that Bitcoin was likely to retrace after this pump. We were right here-ish, but it pumped a little higher than expected. The overall trading thesis remains, okay? Overall trading thesis remains. You can be off by a little bit. It's fine. Generally speaking, your market structure is still bearish on the high time frame. I was speaking with someone about this on Twitter, and they were like, no, the only way Bitcoin retraces, you know, in the way you're describing is if we get a black swan event, yada, yada, yada. Then I proceed to say, this retracement for Bitcoin is part of a 155-day distribution pattern, right? It's 155 days in the making. There's nothing black swan about it. It has been in the making for quite some time. So we're going to look at that 155-day bearish pattern that I keep referring to when everyone says, not everyone, not all of you, but a lot of people that I speak to who may not necessarily watch my analysis or know that I'm an analyst say, oh, that's impossible. Bitcoin's off and to the moon. Look, it's only X number of dollars away from all-time high. It's obviously going to keep going. So that's the logic that a lot of non-analysts have. All right. Yesterday, like I said, we were here. We pumped a little higher, but you know, all things being equal, the entire trading thesis, the market structure is still the same. And while today, at the time of recording, it's about, 6:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. The market is fairly green. Expect the market to turn red, really red, for the remaining, for the rest of the weekend, right? And I'm going to explain why. All right, so let's zoom out for a second. Daily time frame, and I posted this on a community post, but I'd like to share this analysis here. All right, so let's do daily. So what is this 155-day bearish pattern? Well, I've been talking about this for most of the 155 days. Actually, it's more than 155 days. It's 170 days. And actually, no. I think 155 days is accurate. It's more accurate because I want to start right here. And I'm going to show you why, actually, in a second. Yeah, 155 days. Yeah, I like it. Here, this move right here was the beginning. And why do I take that as the beginning of the distribution? Because this is the uptrend. This is the break of trend. And why is that a break? Well, because you came up here and that retraced more than 62% of this, which announced, so this candle right here, this daily candle, and that day specifically was December 5th, announced the break of Bitcoin's uptrend. It's always tricky to read those because sometimes you can be reading what we call an ending diagonal, which may look a little like that, but in hindsight, it's really clear the start of the distributive sequence, the Wyckoff distribution. I keep saying distribution. I'm referring to Wyckoff distribution. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's very popular. But essentially, what we're talking about is a pattern by which price redistributes from buyers back to sellers. Okay? Buyers become sellers through the process of a distribution channel. All right, and that's a massive 155-day distribution channel, and that's the beginning of it, the break of the uptrend, and the subsequent moves up and down and up and down and up and down. We don't have to get technical as to the different aspects of a Wyckoff distribution. You can read about it, but essentially, price just goes up and down within a confined range and eventually breaks down from that range. When we first started this analysis, and this is the real tricky thing about all of this, you don't have the vantage, you don't have the perspective, because it's happening. And so trying to look and analyze something in real time while it's happening is that much more challenging than analyzing it once it's more or less finished. But while it was happening, we were under the impression that this was the entirety of the distribution. That was a channel, yes, but that was just part of it. As you can see, now we can see that this is part of the distribution, and this is part of the distribution, and that's the last part of the distribution, but the massive channel spans from between 80K and 108K. I think it's more clear to see now, and then that's our midline. So when we're gonna break down soon, maybe this weekend, probably, we're expecting an intermediate bounce off the midline of the 155-day channel. So I'm gonna get to that in a bit. So don't be surprised when I quote my first target for Bitcoin to the downside as being in and around 85 or wherever this is. Yeah, 85, 86K, which is close to the midline. Okay, so that I want to talk about. And again, we can look at it in terms of Wyckoff. Myself as an Elliottician, my eye first gravitates towards 2 degrees of AB basing or a pivot and a pivot. So here I see my initial break of structure, my counter. So that's my first pair of AB bases, my secondary break of structure, my secondary counter, and then my tertiary break or my pivot and my tertiary break of structure, my tertiary counter. Those are my 3 pairs, and I labeled them here, as you can see. A, B, that's first pair, alpha, beta, second pair, and then I moved the last label, but it was like a small a, small b, or something like that. It doesn't matter. But you can see, you can parse this in a number of ways, and you can see some sort of pattern here whereby the price is going in a confined range, but not doing much else. So for 155 days, if you're bullish, this is not good. If you're bullish on Bitcoin leaving this range, this is not good. You don't leave ranges from the top. You leave them from the midline. So if you're bullish on Bitcoin, and some people are who watch this channel, what you want to do, what you want to see is a retest of the midline and then a clean and clear and swift break of the upper resistance. Dilly-dallying at the top, especially at the start of a weekend, especially in and around a full moon, you're more likely than not getting a massive retracement. All right, now let's move on. Let's zoom in. So Bitcoin, let's say I'm correct and we are on the verge of a move. Well, that 155-day distribution isn't just to go down back to the middle of the channel, of the 155-day channel, or to the bottom of the channel. No. The thesis is that on the higher time frames, there are viable support levels for Bitcoin between 65 and 70K. That has been the read for months on this channel. And so if you're distributing all of this, it's only to come down here, okay? And nothing goes in a straight line, or things sometimes appear to, but generally speaking, nothing goes in a straight line. So I would not be surprised, once again, if you found intermediate support near the middle of the channel. And I'll say this right here, as you can see, this ascending broadening wedge that we have marked out has been broken through. It wasn't broken out of perfectly, because if it was, then you would have gotten the height of the ascending broadening wedge superimposed from the side of breakout. You would have gotten up closer to 108. In any case, if you do break down from this, what you're likely to do is come down and then retest the midline of this ascending broadening wedge before leaving it. So that's why I think the first move for Bitcoin down is clear. I don't know, nothing's really clear in technical analysis, but I would bet that the first move is something like this. Down to around 87 based off of where we're at right now, and then retesting the midline as resistance at 97K thereabouts. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing in Bitcoin. And now let's move even further down the time frames. Just looking at where we're at right now. Could it be a wave 4? Could it be an intra-wave correction? Sure. But I believe it's more likely than not a distribution, a mini distribution, whereby, again, you have a range. You have your initial break of structure, counter, secondary break of structure, secondary counter, tertiary break of structure, tertiary counter. You're caught right now at the midline. So now the midline was support when you were above it, resistance when you're below it. You're currently below it. You lose that midline and you lose the range. That's what I'm seeing in Bitcoin on the higher time frames and on the smaller time frames. So I do believe that this weekend, as per usual, it yields some bearish price action, because typically weekends give you that, especially if you rally during the week. You retrace during the weekend, and if we retrace during the weekend, I think Bitcoin retraces to our initial target down around 15%. And I'm not 100% on whether or not the impulse starts here, or if this, so I'm not 100% whether or not wave 1 starts here and then that's wave 2, or if this is wave A, B, and then the impulse goes down there. But it doesn't really matter, to be honest. The only thing that's important about that, and once it actually happens, I can revisit it, is the timing. So if we come down wave 1, and then I know wave 2 will take around the same time as wave 1. But then if we come down as an A wave and it's in a zigzag, then I know the B wave can take however long it wants. Okay? And I do expect for this, whatever this retracement is, if it's wave 2 or a B wave of some kind, that we get that towards the beginning of the week. We could get it towards the latter part of the weekend, but typically if you're getting a big retracement during the weekend, you're not going to get a recovery until the beginning of the week, where you get some liquidity from the traditional markets. So that's what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. Again, we'll revisit whether this is a wave 1, wave 2, or the alternative, whether it's wave A, B, and then your impulse starts here. Jury's still out, but it's not that important. What's important is that you look at the levels, and with a high degree of probability, you can find which level you're at, where you're, if you're going up or down, where your next target is, and where your next retracement is. So that's Bitcoin. Now, how does this affect the altcoins? I just said that I have Bitcoin more likely than not this weekend. And again, this weekend is a full moon weekend. So I think the full moon's on the 12th. And remember, statistically speaking, full moons represent local market bottoms. We typically dump in and around full moons. Everything's saying, given that we're a weekend, given that it's a full moon, that you're going to have a retracement, you're going to have a red crypto market during this weekend. Okay. If Bitcoin is going to retrace 15%, what about altcoins? Well, I think they retrace a little more. Why? Look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. And Bitcoin dominance did what we thought it would do, okay? Bitcoin dominance finally lost this last level. So we were talking about Bitcoin dominance being at a local market top, and this being a strong indicator, and then this being a retracement of this. And so once we got up here, we were saying it's imminent. At some point in time, we're just going to lose this level. And once we lose this level, we're going to lose the entire range and then retest the midline. Again, same principle. You have a range of price action. You lose it. You have to retest the midline before leaving it altogether. So that's what I think is happening. Let's dive down into the hourly time frame so I could show you really quickly. So again, I can say with confidence that altcoins are going to bleed more than Bitcoin on this 15% dump that I'm seeing Bitcoin perform this weekend. Why? Well, because our Bitcoin dominance did what it was supposed to do. It retraced impulsively down and through that top channel. Now, it's clearly found some sort of intermediate support right below the channel. What's it going to do? More likely than not, it's going to matriculate up and retest the middle of the channel before giving us the first move of Altseason. That's the first move of Altseason right here upon the retest of this midline, okay? So if Bitcoin dominance is likely to go up, we know, based off of what this means, that Bitcoin's going to beat altcoins in terms of market cap. What does that mean? That essentially means that altcoins are going to bleed harder than Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin's going down 14, 15%, altcoins probably going down 20, 25, 30, 40, 50%. That's what I'm seeing, okay? That's why I'm seeing it based off of this Bitcoin dominance chart. Last but not least, let's talk about altcoins using the TOTAL3 market cap, TOTAL3 crypto cap, which is an amalgam of all of the altcoins in the cryptocurrency space minus Bitcoin minus Ethereum, okay? And I was saying yesterday that, we were at resistance here and we pumped a little more. Okay. It seems as if at this point, zooming in, we are indeed at some sort of resistance. And that just like Bitcoin is at some sort of resistance and is stalling and is likely to fall and teeter, and retrace, this altcoin chart is as well. A lot of people are going to be caught unawares by this. If you're in profit, I would take profit, not financial advice. If you're not, it's fine. You're on the other side of the first true leg of Altseason, right? This was nice. People are losing their minds about it, and I get it because it's been a hell of a bear market. But the actual first pump of Altseason comes here upon the retest. Just like you know it to be true. Let's go on the high time frame. Why is this? This is really important. Again, simple principles. You're looking at this right here, this channel in teal, as being a 90-day channel that altcoins have been in. Again, this is collective. Not speaking for every altcoin, but collectively, altcoins have been in a 90-day consolidation channel. And instead, we were just talking about distribution, right? This is the opposite. This is accumulation. This is consolidation at bottoms looking to move up. And that's exactly what you got. Right here, you see this moving up and through this 90-day channel and then the initial breakout. But what do we know about technical analysis? The initial breakout isn't the real breakout because corrective patterns typically come in flavors of 3. So you get your initial breakout. The really wise, savvy investor and trader and chartist waits for the retest. That retest is now when the party starts. That's what we should look at, okay? And so I had this a little, let's jump down on the 4-hourly time frame. I had this a little differently yesterday on the chart, and so this chart's a bit different, but essentially I had the initial breakout going a little higher. I had the initial breakout going a little lower and then coming back down and went a little higher. Like I said, I think we finish consolidating here, lose the level, effectuate the retest. Meanwhile, this is the time in which Bitcoin gives us that 15% drop. Altcoins collectively give us an 8% drop. Okay. I still think that a lot of altcoins are going to bleed against Bitcoin, but on this chart, it's 8%, down to around 806 billion. And that essentially represents the retest of this 90-day channel, the retest of the top of the channel. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. And then once we get up here towards the beginning of the week, next week, that's when you really see it. And the first move of Altseason gives you a strong move up and out to the next logical resistance and collectively giving you 35-36%. That's what I'm seeing for altcoins. That's why I'm seeing it, guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got value, consider buying me a coffee, tipping me by Litecoin, Venmo, Cash App. All can be found at the pinned comment below, and do consider my crypto mentorship portfolio and consultation service. Also can be signed up through the link at the pinned comment below, where I go one-on-one with you for up to 2 hours every month, helping you pick altcoins that are actually going to moon in this coming crypto alt season. And I help you choose or identify local market tops and local market bottoms, buying and selling points on a monthly basis. So all that can be signed up to through the link in my pinned comment. And don't forget my new exchange partner, crypto exchange partner, CoinCatch. The link is also at the pinned comment, and running the new event up until mid-May, so I guess about a week more. And they're giving away $130 just for doing some different activities. And if you invest $10 or more, or you deposit $10 or more into your account, they give up to $150 as a bonus. So guys, thank you, and talk to you soon.
Could turn back, repeat the same story, or march forward and embrace change and reflect upon his glory. I'm a selfish man, therein lies the whole problem. Torn between my actions and the will of my heart. I had to take it all apart to see where I stood as a man, to depart from this world and leave it in his hands. Come on. Yeah.
Looks like I'm heading for the gold, y'all. Touring on a pothole road, y'all. I get it even if I didn't fit in, winning right up to the end, like I didn't even know, y'all. I have Pop's genetics, working hard never to get it, like shit or better than letting life get the best of my efforts. Instead I dedicated to bettering my steps, measuring investments, watch me do it to the death, y'all.